Welcome to the Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living Wednesday morning service. So good to have you all here. So good to have all of you who are online. We welcome you. We know that there's no time or space in God, so you're right here with us, basically. We feel you. We appreciate you. And we welcome you to the service today. And all of you who showed up in person, this nice little cheering section right here. So good to have all of you here, all of your wonderful faces, all of your wonderful presence here today. I'm Reverend Gregory Toole, and I'd love to open us with prayer right now. So I invite you to turn within. And so we know together right now, there is only one life. There is only one power, one infinite intelligence, one perfect, whole, complete presence of love, wholeness, harmony, and that this one indwells all that is. This one is the expression of all that is. This one is the very life that is living itself through and as me. My very life is a divine expression of that one, whole, perfect, complete life that is God. And beautifully, as this is true for me, it is true for everyone. Every one of us here, every one of us online, everyone who concerns us, every being, everywhere, is a whole, perfect, complete, unique, divine emanation and expression of that one life. And so it is in this awareness that I bless our service today. I just know it is so perfect. I know it is like no other service we've ever experienced before, no other moment we've ever experienced before, for every moment is absolutely unique. I know that our speaker, Reverend Katherine McKinney, is the perfect vehicle and vessel this day through which Spirit, infinite wisdom, infinite love brings us a beautiful message. I know that each one of us are the divine receptors of whatever it is, as well as the divine transmitters, so that we are all co-creating what happens here today. And something beautiful and wonderful and amazing is happening. Maybe it might be called transformation. Maybe it might be called a breakthrough, an opening, or just an aha. But something for each one of us and for all of us, something amazing is happening. For this, I am so grateful. I just release this word. I let it be. We establish it together with the words. And so it is. All right, are we sufficiently prayed in? Prayed up? Can I get an amen? And a hallelujah? All right, now we're rolling. Now we're rocking and rolling here. So, a few announcements this morning. Conscious Kids Summer Camp right here at the Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living is happening July 28th through August 1st, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Kids 6 to 10 will enjoy a week of mindfulness, creativity, play, art, and affirmation and connection. See Robin in the children's program, or just grab a flyer out there in the lobby for more information. And maybe you know a neighbor or a friend who has children that would like to participate. It's going to be a wonderful event. We have a sound bath coming up also, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, the 26th, 10 a.m. Love donation of $20 is requested. No one will be turned away. And then I, myself, Reverend Gregory Toole, have a workshop coming up, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, the 27th, called What to Do with Feelings. Feelings. So we're going to really get into some of the things that we've been talking about on Sundays around feelings at an experiential level, and a chance to interact around that and ask some questions around that, and just really have feelings be something really powerful, something we embrace, something we love to experience. And so we're going to really take a little bit of a dive into how to be healthy with our emotions and all that goes on within us, not just above the neck, but full body. Let's see, next week, there will be no yoga, not here anyway. Yoga across the world is canceled next week. No, just here. Our Tuesday yoga next week won't be happening. Also, because Reverend Katherine will be going to the youth camp, we won't have the group Zoom call either next week on Wednesday. All right, get ready for Motown in our town. Yeah, Motown in our town. Claudia Kerkoring and Jim Hale's Divine Dining Bash on August 3rd, Sunday, August 3rd, 4 to 9 p.m. Rock out to a 9-piece band. Who's ready to rock out? I went last year. That was so fabulous. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Everyone told me last year, oh, you don't want to miss this. And they were right. It was so fun. We can only accommodate 100 people, so make sure to buy your tickets, sign up as quickly as you can before it sells out, because it will sell out. The band is called Film at 11 and the Late Breaking Horns. And also we'll have cuisine from Chef Robert Bell, former owner of Chez Melange, who is preparing a beautiful and diverse menu, including, yay, vegan choices, and an open bar. I don't drink, but for those who do, an open bar. Let's see, where can you go for a 9-piece band concert, a catered meal, and libations for only $110 a person? And all the monies go to support the center. It's a fundraiser. So not only are you spending the money well, but it also, every penny of it goes to support what we do here at the center. Thank you to Jim and Claudia for their generosity in allowing that to happen. So treat yourself to a wonderful evening. It's going to be fun. It's a fundraising event with great socializing and dancing. Sign up at the front desk. Last day to pay is Sunday, July 27th. So you've got about, 10 more days or so to sign up for that, assuming it doesn't sell out by then. The landscape committee is asking for help with some watering in the summer. Anyone has a green thumb, want to just go tend to the plants a little bit, water them? We have 2 volunteers watering now. We might need some extra help for the potted plants during the summer heat, which every time I hear summer heat here, I kind of chuckle, because I lived in Bakersfield before I came here, and all summer long, it's 100 degrees, over 100 degrees every day. So I'm like, when people say in the 70s here, oh, it's getting hot, I'm like, oh. Anyway, if you want to help with watering the plants, please let Doris know at the front desk, and she'll put you on the list. Founders Church, one of the original Centers for Spiritual Living, will be honoring Reverend Dr. Arthur Chang after 33 years as their senior minister, and we're all invited Saturday, July 26th at 1 p.m. Flyers for all these events are found on the activity table in the lobby, and also you can see our weekly e-newsletter and our Spirit Speaks magazine. A big thank you to all our wonderful volunteers. We appreciate you all so much. You all run the place, so thank you for doing that. Thank you for serving in that way and volunteering. We literally couldn't do it without you. It's not even a question. We literally could not do it without you. And our speaker today is Reverend Katherine McKinney. And before I call Reverend Katherine McKinney up here, it's so magnificent that we came to see today, we're going to have a selection from our wonderful lead musician, Elise Carver.
It's by Sloan Wainwright.
This is my treasure, this life I'm living. It's such a pleasure to be right here, letting go, measure by measure, of pain and sorrow, free of fear, of pain and sorrow, free of fear. I cherish the gift of time to surrender, to be at ease with all I've got. I fill my heart with life's tender beauty, the green trees, the mountain tops, the green trees, the mountain tops. May the Spirit of love bring peace to my heart. May the Spirit of love This is my journey, a path of forgiveness, forgetting the past, finding my way. I bless and release with every step forward. This is the prayer I offer today. Yes, this is the prayer I offer today. May the Spirit of love bring peace to my heart. May the Spirit of love bring peace to you. May the Spirit of love bring peace to my heart. May the Spirit of love bring peace to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. The joy in your music is always appreciated. You know, every time we stand up here and speak, at the end of announcements, we thank the volunteers who work here. I feel so strongly about that sentiment, about appreciating volunteers. And it isn't just because the very first thing I ever did here was volunteer. But in talking about our summer program for youth, I believe that's the first thing I did. I prepared snacks for our youth during that time. And so it just sort of warmed my heart thinking about being involved at that level and how much it has meant to me for actually the decades in between. So, which segues nicely into my talk, which is titled Attitude. And I chose that title for a particular reason, because I had been reading the works of, some of the works of Neville Goddard, and he had a title of one of his chapters, Attitude. And I was already thinking about that. And so it sort of telescoped me, if you will, back to the time when we first moved here in the mid-90s, and we moved from Alabama to California about that time. And in that time in our life, because of the move, which is a big deal, there are 4 of us moving, it was very tumultuous, especially at the very end. I was literally rear-ended in the school parking lot. There was a big test that my younger child had to take. All of this happening with a matter of days, and we had to load up and move to California. And of the 4 of us, one of us absolutely did not want to come and was truly kicking and screaming, at least metaphorically. The other one had had a diagnosis of something that I was not really ready to deal with. I did a Scarlett O'Hara. I'll think about that tomorrow. And one of us thought, well, we're not going to be there very long. We'll be moving back. It'll just, because we had moved around for years, Bob and I had. And the 4th one of us had a very strong feeling that, no, this is what we're doing. And where that came from, I have to know that it just moved through me. So on that trip, which was really pretty easy, actually, we did some things, but we get here and then the tumult started again. We were rear-ended again. Our car quit working in the middle of Hawthorne Boulevard. The police had to move us away. And it was just this whole bunch of things, finding schools for the kids, trying to make that one child who didn't want to move here happy, and trying to find places for the younger one, and still putting off till tomorrow dealing with that diagnosis. And all of the different things were happening, eventually moving into the house, having all these things happen. It was a mess. A lot of a mess is the way it felt at the time. And so eventually things evened out. I got into what for me is peace, which is a routine. And I volunteered. I had already been volunteering at both of my kids' schools doing activities, but then I volunteered for something that actually gave me a great deal of anticipation of pleasure for what I was going to do. So I'm seated in this circle of people, and we're going around this circle. There's maybe 75, could be 100 people there, each saying their name and maybe a sentence or so. And when it got to me, I said my name, and then I said, I just immigrated from Alabama. That room laughed as well. And what I have to tell you is I didn't plan to say that. It's what came out of me. And so that's part of the attitude that I'm talking about. Our attitude, if you're looking for a definition, I read that attitude is an umbrella term for your opinions, for your emotions, for your beliefs, and for the way that things are going on in your life. That's an attitude, is the summary of that. And so I think about when I said that, that's how alienated I probably felt from moving here. To say that my life in Alabama is different than my life in California is an understatement. I was adapting all the time. And so I can imagine if any of you have moved here from someplace else and had to make that adaptation, you know what I mean. And I don't mean that it's a bad thing. It's not. It is simply a matter of adaptation. And so in thinking about that, about attitudes, I moved into this Neville Goddard's thinking about attitudes, and this whole chapter begins with his telling about these experiments that these two professors, psychology professors, one at Dartmouth and one at Princeton, who did in their psychology laboratory. And what he says is they proved, and that is his word, proved that what you see when you look at something depends not on as much as what is there as what the assumptions you make when you look at them. What you see is determined more about the assumptions you make when you look at them than what is actually there. Now, I read crime novels all the time, and one of the things that is a given in crime novels is that eyewitness testimony, that won't stop. Law enforcement understands that eyewitness testimony is almost unreliable. And I've seen actual, not even experiments that were done, but in real life crime, where it so happened there was a sidewalk full of people who saw the crime happen, but there were at least 12 different descriptions of the color of the vehicle, of the shape of the vehicle that went by. It's not what you see, it's the assumptions you make when you look. And so I've heard, or read, I think it was a podcast, where a psychologist in talking about that said, what probably happens is someone actually noticed a black sedan that went back maybe just before this incident happened. So they remembered a black sedan and not the one that they actually saw in the crime. And I think, again, we've had laboratory experiments that help to come to that conclusion. So we have attitudes, we have assumptions about so many things in life, and it colors what we see. And what Goddard says is it not only colors what we see, it colors what we do. And so he goes on to say this is an actual case history of a woman who came to him who was very, very distressed. And she said that she was a costume designer and she was working for an eminent theatrical producer. And she said that he was undervaluing her work, he was rude to her, he seemed to dislike her, and that she was not doing anything good. And she wanted to know what she could do to change this. And so what Goddard said to her is that you are the one who is wanting, not the producer. That you are in need of a new attitude. So then he proceeded to talk about the law of assumption and how we assume certain things, and we get into the place of doing that. And so in doing that, he said to her, you are creating the situation that you expect to create. And eventually, he does convince her that this is the case. She began to see that she was doing certain things. He had even said to her, I would suppose that on your way and during your time, you have these imaginary conversations with him in which you are talking to him about being rude and undervaluing your work. She said, yes, I confess that on my way to work, as I'm pounding the pavement, I'm giving him what for. I am telling him all these things I'm feeling, things I would never say to him. So she recognized at some level after some time that she was assuming a lot of behavior. So she changed her attitude. She decided that she was going to approach this producer in the way he suggested. And so she said, she said, I am going to congratulate, he was congratulating me, I imagined he was congratulating me on my perfect designs, and he was so grateful that he had her working for him, and she thanked him profusely and for his praise and his thanksgiving. And so Goddard reports that they had a very harmonious relationship miraculously after this happened. And this is an actual case history. So what this reminds me of, in addition to the power of assumptions and the power of attitude that we take toward things, is also the power of imagination. And so it just so happened a few days ago, I was reading about inventions, about some new ways of doing things that have come about really in recent time. And one of the ones I read about was this man from Australia whose father was a plumber. And so, for whatever reason, he envisioned a metal heart about this small. I mean, the heart's not actually all that big. Small, little metal. He's holding it in his hand in the photograph I saw. And it functions as the heart. And it's being used in some people. And at least one person, it lasted well over 100 days. That's 3 months, allowing this person's heart to beat on their own. They're waiting for a transplant. And we know that those lists, get depleted quickly. And so that was considered a success to go 3 months like that. And that wasn't the only one. There was another researcher that was researching using pigs' kidneys to use in humans. And so he did the genetic business that he needed to do, created this kidney from a pig, and they put it in one particular woman her kidneys had already failed. She was in dialysis, put it in, and she went 4 months without having to have dialysis. She too was awaiting a transplant. And it's through imagination that people are thinking of how can we solve this problem. And so if we have an attitude that this is terrible, it's just not going to work, and instead we use the power of our imagination, how can I come up with something that can work? And so I like to think of, we are all problem solvers, even if we are only working in our own lives. And I think of the situation that we sometimes get anxious about in the world. Why not, instead of saying words that I've read about how everything's going to be horrible, why not just imagine that there is some divine providence that is moving throughout creation that's allowing everything in any situation that we're thinking of to unfold exactly what is the best way for it to unfold in life. It's not necessarily what I think. It's allowing Spirit to be the guide for that imagination. And we simply support it. Number one, by encouraging in direct words. But number two, by not contradicting it on our conversations with ourselves. This is not going to work. I can't imagine why this person is treating me and anybody so badly. How many of us have ever engaged in those negative conversations? I'm raising my hand high because I know I have. And it's not only useless, it's destructive. Maybe we can at least convince ourselves of that. Convince ourselves that there is so much more than we can do. We were reading in the book group that we read at starting at 9:45 on Wednesdays about Ernest Holmes talking about that the law is really absolute. We get what we are putting out there to get. It's nobody's fault. That's the way God created it. It's the way God had to create it. We have freedom to choose. And he uses the word bondage under the law. And one of the students in my class said, I don't like that word bondage. Maybe we could change it to control. Okay, control of the law. But all the law is doing is giving back to us what we put out. Whether we're doing it in the law of an attitude that we have, or we're assuming lots of things, and we all assume lots of things all the time. And instead, see, the power of imagination is not a negative of anything. The power of our imagination is something we create. And we're creating in our minds ways, avenues that something could be better. And that it works and delight falls over the land. I love the power of imagination. You can imagine things that are not. You can do that. I know I have done that. I've done that more than once. I've even done it right here. I have been told, you can't do that. And short version is I did. It is, if you can imagine it, and you imagine it successfully, and it's not about you in particular, it's about what you're imagining for everyone. That's the beauty of imagination. And I love that line from Through the Looking Glass, where the Queen of Hearts is encouraging Alice to imagine a particular, you can't do that, that's impossible. And the Queen of Hearts says, why? I sometimes imagine 6 impossible things before breakfast. So I like to think that we can all do that we can imagine things before breakfast and throughout the day, especially if we see something that we don't like. We turn our minds away from the don't like part and imagine how it could be different. So I invite you to explore these. Your own attitudes is something to explore. Maybe you can recognize how your attitudes frame your life. And they do. They do for all of us. And that doesn't mean that it's all bad at all. This is not a negative observation. And the assumptions we make, wait, I don't know that for sure. One thing that I learned, I don't know, if it's 7, 8, 10 years ago, is my memory is kind of crappy. Even if I'm absolutely sure. I have had physical proof that a way I remembered something, and it's not important, but I still remembered it a certain way, was just wrong. So I've reframed what I say about remembering. I usually say, the way I remember it is. as opposed to the way it is, like I'm pontificating about it. Because memory is a lot like eyewitness testimony. What you see is not necessarily what's there. What I remember is not the way it was. It's the assumptions that I'm making as I look at it, as I remember it. So in closing, I'd like to invite you to, if you just close your eyes for just a moment and see yourself as this divine being with the light just shining directly on you, because it absolutely is. And as you see yourself, you can say to yourself, I am the divine light of God. I am moving forward in the most affirmative way I can imagine. And I know that good and only good come from those things that I assume, that I imagine, that I remember, and that I do. I am grateful to be in the place in my own life that supports me and all the good that I can imagine. I am grateful. And I simply agree and say, and so it is. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for being here. And those of you who are online, I appreciate everything. So this is the time in our program where we choose to give back to this center. It's given so much to all of us. It has given so much to me, so many opportunities, so many ways to imagine things differently and to actually see them happen. So many assumptions that I can make for good, and so much move and change in attitude that I attribute to my time and this center. And of course, I give back in my cash as well as my time. I, as Reverend Gregory says, I give mine online, so I'm putting my hands over my heart as I say, well, we're going to talk about how you could give. The amount you can text to give. Has anybody in this room actually texted to give before? Because I have. It's just kind of fun to do, just to know you can. Then you can go to the website and to do that, and it's very clear for you there. And using the QR code, I had to try that too. I had to make sure that it worked before I stand up here and tout it. It's really a very cool thing to do. I invite you to just play with that if you haven't before. But the most important thing is that when you receive, giving back to what you receive is so important for you. It certainly blesses our center, and we are wanting to do more and more things, and it's all possible because of all of those who give. And I thank you for doing that. So here we are. We're going to do our affirmation, which is one of my favorites. So I am saying, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love. And so it is. Thank you. And so now we are going to have the lovely experience of this gratitude song. Thank you.
Sure. This song is called With a Little Bit, and it's by Sherry Lou Roberts and Carla Downey. With a little bit of hope, we begin to discover. With a little bit of faith, we see our way o'er the hill. It will open before you as we begin to recover from all of the doubt that lays blocking our will. With a little bit of trust, we can go up a stair step. With a little bit of love, we learn to forgive in ourselves as the Spirit become our own lover and spiral above where
we can receive when we fall back to that dark place before this and pull the covers over our spirit. I know there is light beyond this, lighter and brighter than we've ever felt before. With a little bit of hope, we begin to discover. With a little bit of faith, we see our way o'er the hill. It will open before you. We begin to recover from all of the doubt that lays blocking our will. With a little bit of thought, we can find ourselves moving. With a little bit of truth, we release all our blame. A shift in our mind, we create what we will. We step up, decide what is all ours to claim. With a little bit of hope, we begin to discover. With a little bit of faith, we see our way o'er the hill. It will open before you. We begin to recover from all of the doubt that lays blocking our will. With a little bit of thought, we can find ourselves moving. With a little bit of truth, we release all our blame. A shift in our mind, we create what we will. Step up, decide what is all ours to claim. Yes, a shift in our mind, we create what we will. Step up, embrace what is all ours to claim. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. Thank you so much. So this is the time when we ask for your prayers or your comments or any more information that you want, whatever it is. This is your time to share. So what would you like to share? We have the lovely Anne down front.
Well, your talk was just so excellent, Katherine. Thank you so much. It was exactly what I needed. I feel like I'm probably 75% there with replacing fear with imagination for what I want, but I needed the other 25%, so thank you. And also, I would like, I guess, a prayer of imagination for my friend Warren and his 3-year-old child, that they certainly have a place to sleep tonight, and something more permanent too, recognizing the absolute value and love of this man and blessing him in all of the ways that he needs at the moment. Thank you.
Does the son have a name?
Yes, his name is Kingdom.
Say again?
Kingdom.
Kingdom.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else have a prayer request? So let's know the truth for Hinam. I know that this power that created all of the things we know, the earth, the sky, the stars, the universe, and such a divine order, absolutely has a divine pattern for Hinam. I know that this pattern is divine, and so my idea for him is that he is moving and growing and being and rectifying himself in that pattern. So he's perfectly aligned with the divine pattern with which he was born. And in the movement, he is supported by his mother with love, with caring, and that she imagines that he is whole and perfect and complete. She allows him to move through this with grace for her as well as grace for him. And knowing that everyone around them is loving and supporting him in all the ways that are unique to those loving people around, supporting, caring, and simply being there with their presence. And so as we all collectively know for the presence and the power and the uniqueness that is Hinam, that he is growing in his divine self. He is allowing the healing to take place. His mother is freeing him from any fear or any encumbrance. And so I allow this to simply be. I am grateful to know that this power knows no boundaries. Wherever they are, the absolute action of love is moving through everything, bringing exactly what is needed in Eden's life. And so in gratitude for this, I know that it is a prayer for good, and so it is already done in the mind of God. I release and let it be and say, and so it is. Anyone else have a question or comment? Are you all ready to use your imagination? I mean, practice. Just think of almost anything and practice. There's bound to be something in everyone's life where you can do that. So if there's nothing else, then we will release ourselves to the foyer and chit-chat, go to lunch, have a good time. You know, I did imagine, truly, at this point in this talk, that I did this without even thinking about it. I did it in the night. There's a group of you who have lunch together, and you take turns imagining something that was creative for you. It's just whether it happens or not, I take a step back. I'm just sharing my own thought. I thank you all for being here, for being such a lovely audience. I'm grateful, and so it is, okay.